Testing audio. Okay, so where did we leave off yesterday? Right, so we had the stacking patterns implemented. Um, right now, it's limited because it's only about 30 high. So after you clear 30 lines, this will be consumed, which is not ideal. When you're practicing, you want to be able to go as long and far as you can. And if I had the bot if I had the bot working right now, I could demonstrate this. But right now it's acting, I mean, yeah, that's just, I don't know what's going on here. And that's the point of this first part of this stream is to figure out what the bug is with this bot behavior. And the first thing to check is the bot waits, but it's crashing on me. So let's take a look at the error. Unexpectedly found nil while unwrapping an optional value. So what that means is we don't have defaults set for this key because what this does is it takes the saved settings for this key, which is well column, and it tries to get what the setting was. And in this case, it's it's the array of 10 columns that are in the matrix. So to skirt this, I could do something like, let's see, I could just set the value. I could just set it straight up. Here, this is what I'll do, since I don't feel like actually fixing it. Well column. This is what, tuple to array. Takes a tuple. All right. Let tuple type int 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, of course, I need to fix this if I were to ever release this to the public, which I don't have any plans to. Okay, this should work now. It, in 32. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Unexpected separator. Okay, so this should not crash anymore. All right, so if we look at well column down here, this is a very important setting. It's so important that I actually moved it to its own separate section, well column weights. So here are the zeros that we just set over here. So this determines where the well column is. So if you were practicing something like 0, 2, 7 stacking, so where your stack has a width of 2 on the left side and 7 on the right side, you would set something like this, right? Actually, before I do that, let's reset all this and then see if the bot is working. No. See, the bot is acting weird. Okay, now it's working. Before I wasn't able to reset it because um, that page was crashing. So I guess the bot weights were so wonky that it was playing almost at random. All right, so here I can show you the stacking patterns and how it's being consumed. All right, so let's let the bot play. Notice the ghost pattern in the back. See how it's being used up, which we don't want. I'm gonna undo all this. I don't know why the bot is playing like this, but that's something else to look into. The bot is acting really strange. The weird thing is it doesn't happen uh, on the device. It's only happening here. Use stacking patterns. Oh, okay, I think I know what's going on. I think I know what's going on. It's because the way I supply the board to the bot, um, anything that isn't an empty square registers as piece placement. So when we enable the stacking pattern, it literally thinks there's pieces where you see these gray squares. And that's another thing. I need to change the alpha on these gray squares so that um, the colors don't blend. I actually need all the pieces to be of alpha 1.0. So the bot is extremely confused right now because literally what you're telling it is there's squares here and here and here and here and here. So an easy way to fix that is to change, actually, that doesn't need to be fixed now, but it should be a really easy fix. So first thing we need to do is fix uh, the stacking pattern being consumable. We don't want it consumable, right? We don't want it to be used up. As you can see, anytime the line is cleared, it brings the whole grid down, but it's uh, this ghost, these these stacking patterns squares need to be uh, infinite. And that's this point here. Pattern should be infinitely tall. This prevents consuming the ghost pattern. Um, but before we do that, in order to make this grid translatable, these pattern stacking squares to be translatable, they cannot live on the same grid as um, the main board. They need to be able to be moved independently of each other. So I used this analogy yesterday, sort of like the transparent plastic sheets that your teacher used to write on in elementary school to use on the overhead. Um, I forget what those are called, but like you could draw on them with vis-a-vis marker and just slide it around the overhead projector to overlay it on different things. So that's what needs to happen here. Um, these ghost pattern squares need to be its own layer, and that layer will be moved independently, and the drawing method will draw those in. Um, so the board itself needs to know nothing about the ghost pattern. But now that makes line clears tricky because line clearing worked right out of the box because behavior was is coupled with the board, which the stacking pattern is currently part of. That means now for line clears, okay, that's not too bad. I just need to duplicate that behavior onto the separate data structure that'll hold the information for the pattern squares, for the stacking pattern squares. Another design that I could go with is um, re-architecting each grid square to be an object. So it'll hold different types of information. So it'll be an object that holds a color and a property which states is it also a ghost square, a stacking pattern square. That's honestly a cleaner solution. It'll also allow line clearers to work almost out of the bag. But I mean, this is the board. It's used, it's littered throughout almost every part of the code. It's a lot of places that um, need to be refactored. So I'm not sure if that's the way to go. So two options: decouple the stacking pattern squares into its own data structure, or the board array, instead of holding, oh, that's not too bad. because the board is a 2D grid of UI colors. Um, Here, board, where are you? Here, the board is a 2D array of UI color. Instead of having it a 2D array of UI color, I can just have it be a 2D array of grid cell, where the grid cell has a UI color and um, a UI color and a is ghost. Okay, that's not too bad actually. That could come in handy for future features as well. I'm not sure what, but I would rather not muck with the line clear logic because as it stands right now, it's very simple. It's it's a staple of the game, which um, it's pretty inherent and important to the core. I don't really want to touch it. Oh, stretch break. See, if I wasn't streaming, I would have probably taken a phone 2 hour long phone break right about now as I got stuck. Terrible. Just terrible. Okay, this is pretty dangerous, but let's see just how prevalent. Oh my god. 73 places. Okay, the good thing is a lot of these are repeated. Actually, yeah, this is not going to be that hard to change. Because wherever this is being used, I would just need to dot it with the color property. Okay, let's try that. Let's write a class for UI color for grid cell. I really hate the name cell. Grid square. I'm gonna call it square. Cell reminds me of that awfully boring project that they had us do in university. What was it called? Conway's Game of Life. I swear I heard the word cell and read it in print and on screen about 100,000 times in a span of 2 weeks, and it drove me nuts. So the word cell is triggering to me now. Okay, so it'll have just two properties where this game board's got a lot of properties. A cell is only a color, and whether it's a ghost. So let's write an init override init. Okay. But we don't want it static. We do want I always forget the syntax for all this stuff. Self. Okay, I was gonna say this. Okay, so grid square. That's what we're gonna use. Grid square. Now, get ready to see all the pieces of code that's broken now. Tetris color. Board. Just expecting a row. This is a array of UI color. It really needs to be an array of grid square. Okay. Okay, everything here is fixed. Let's go back here. Now this is how strong I believe in the pattern stacking. I think this is going to be a game changer in Tetris practicing methods. As far as I know, there's no other tool that has this functionality, which means when people are practicing like ST stacking, LST stacking, any other stacking pattern that has a repeating cycle in its shape, they're doing it blindly or doing it with a like a like a template or a stencil on this side of their monitor, sort of like what Kazu does when he's practicing different shapes. He'll have the outline. Um, pulled off to the side of the screen and he'll look at it and try to recreate that shape. And during one of my coaching sessions with Wombo, he said he does the same thing. Okay, here, grid, square, grid, square. Here we have to change these to grid squares. Okay, yeah, I thought there's no way that was it. Oh, this is where this will need a change. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything here. For wide mode. Uh, here. Here, wait, this is also the stacking pattern. Um, yeah, so this also is going to use the new framework or the new strategy for dealing with pattern squares. Okay, here this needs to be, it's not a Tetris empty color. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That'll work. Tetris color. What else? No, I think the last things are the LST, the stacking. Okay, so take a quick break and come back. Okay, let's get back to it. Stretch. Damn, that shot my heart rate up like 20 points. Okay. Um, Clear out stacking pattern from the board copy. If the copy dot is pattern stacking square is true, what's going on here? Why? Why are you doing this? Or maybe it's a build thing. Let me build. Okay, it's gone now. So if it's pattern second square, then zero it out. So this looks confusing because we're checking for equality and we're doing an assignment here. Equal equal versus equal. Now, okay, this is what I'm fixing. Um, we have to look at the row above. Look at their uh, this property. If it's a stacking pattern square, then our self stacking pattern square is true. And that should be it. Then we have to deal with line clears. No, we don't. That's the whole point of this. And here we say dot. And now we have to fix one last thing, is the drawing. Draw. So here is where drawing stacking pattern comes in. I don't remember when I wrote this. Oh, I remember this. This was for basically practicing four wide invisibly so that I could force myself to visualize the pieces instead of relying on the looking on the board. But I found that to be really, really hard, so I commented it back out. Okay, drawing committed pieces. Where are you? Drawing committed pieces. Nope. Projection plan. Nope. Okay, here. Let color equals that. Okay, so the color is the color, but the color needs to be different depending on what the grid square is. So if the grid square has a color, so the grid square is not Tetris empty, then take Tetris color. Else, else, if this color is not empty, then take the color. Else, take UI. Okay, actually, this is going to be really long, so I'm going to make it a little bit cleaner. Okay, so if the color is not empty, take the color that's there. Else, if it's a pattern stacking true, self dot board rc dot pattern stacking square is true, then let the color be Color will be UI color dot pattern. Else empty. No, I. Boy, that should be all the conditions. Let's run it through. Um, if it's not empty, oh no, the first condition is not right. If this one, if it's not, if this is not a pattern square block, if it's not a pattern square, then take whatever color's there. If it is a pattern square, then okay, that's the right one. And just like that, we clean it up. Oh, you know what? We can clean this up even further. If it's not, then take this, else take UI color dot pattern. You can get rid of all this. Excuse me. And that should be good. All right, let's see what happens. Hmm. Well, that's definitely not intended. So what's happening is it's overwriting. Oh, if it's a ghost square, no. Well, I'm prioritizing the pieces not in the right way. So the committed bricks take precedence over drawing the grid square. So if it's not, if it, how do I put this? If it's a grid square, if it's a, if there's a real block there, take the real block. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this stuff back. Okay, so if it's a, yeah, I think what I had before was the right thing. LOL. There. So if it's not empty, then we have to take the color that's there. But what if it is empty? There's an order of precedence here. Color followed by pattern stacking followed by empty. Okay. If it's not a Tetris empty, then the color is the Tetris color. Else, if the pattern stacking is true, take pattern stacking, then else color is equal to UI color dot Tetris empty. Okay, that should be good. Great. Okay, now that we have that working, line clears work automatically as well. Um, Last thing to do to finish off this pattern stacking, well, second to last thing. There's two more things I need to do with two more things I haven't planned for this pattern stacking stuff. Um, Making it infinite or functionally infinite, because under the covers it won't actually be infinite, but to the user it'll look infinite because the grid actually extends beyond these 20 squares that you see on the screen. Um, Under the hood, it's a grid of 10 by 40, uh, and the 40 is just off the screen and you can't see it. So what's actually happening is the pattern stacking is about 30 to 35 units high almost at all times. Anytime the plan is anytime the pattern stacking square, the height of the highest pattern stacking square goes below 30, we trigger adding another cycle, the filled, empty, filled, empty cycle, append it to the top where it left off. And that way, as lines clear, it'll continue to add another stack of filled, empty, filled, empty to the top of the board, way above the visible part of the screen. So it'll appear to be infinite to the user. And I can foresee a ton of opportunities for errors, um, for off by ones, so I need to be careful there. Um, okay, infinite. Let's go to line clear. Okay, this is where we'll do the logic for line clear. I'm adding, oh man, this method is getting quite bloated. Let's see. I need to add another property to tell the line clear method that the game state is in um, pattern stacking mode or in LST pattern stacking mode. Okay, PCO mode. This is where we're going to add another property to let the game know what mode we're in. And I really don't like that these are just properties. So I wrote another to do to change, uh, use modes. Where is it? Wish list? Mode manager? Here. Mode manager class and manage game modes. Excuse me. Is pattern stacking LST mode. And we have to clear this out whenever the game is reset. So I do that with this guy. Don't remember where else. This is being set here. False. Where else? Hmm. Line clear. Okay. Pattern stacking. Append new pattern stacking cycle on top. First thing that we do is loop through the top of the board and find first instance of a what's it called, pattern stacking square, and if that number is less than, and I want to be strictly less than 30, but that's not zero. The 30 is not in zero index based, so we need to use, yeah, I just have to say less than 30, as opposed to less than equal 30. Go squares for pattern training. Okay, this shit. Help me, help me. I just want to be able to manifest my thoughts and onto the screen instead of sitting here and typing. I'm gonna have some fiber gummies to stall. So here we've found where the pattern leaves off. Let me see how to break out of two loops. Break two loops. You think you have to name one of them, like in other languages. Outer loop. Yeah. Why would you do that? Okay, if this number, pattern stacking height, is less than 30, then we append another piece to the top. And where do we do that? Here. Now, making sure that this is only happening, yeah, this is only for pattern stacking LST mode. From pattern stacking height plus 1. Actually, we're only doing this once, so take this out, remove an indentation. No, it's not going to be I, but it's going to be pattern stacking height space plus space 1. And this is actually going to be plus 1 plus 2. Yeah, that's fine. 3, 4, and 5. What's going on here? Self dot. I believe this one is, in this class, you just need self dot board. Okay, let's try this out. If this works, we will be done. Okay, now hopefully this goes on forever and we maintain this. Oh shoot, I clicked reset. Okay, again. Now, like I mentioned before, there is opportunity for off by 1 errors here because of all this plus 1 and less than, minus 1, all this stuff. You know, this less than, exclusive. So we have to test for off by 1. So what I mean is this should maintain the structure 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Bot. Okay, it looks good still. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, I think we've cleared 30 lines so far, and it's still going. Okay, I think it worked. So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, great. I think that'll do it. 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, great. I'm going to install this onto the phone. So this will be the latest version. Where's my cable? Ah, one cable, please. Test this out with the controller. Oh shoot, undo is not working. I broke undo. Uh, okay, to demonstrate that, let's see what happens here. So usually, if you make a mistake, you can just undo it. Notice how nothing's happening here. Well, the board is not being refreshed. Um, why? Undo pressed. Game board. Let's look at the register undo. Okay, when do we register undo? When a piece is locked. Okay, so far so good. What's a sonic drop? Move all the way to the bottom. Current break after hard dropped. Interesting. So registering undo, think. Hmm. See, when I drop a piece, we should come into here. So let's see what happens. Old board equals self.board. You know, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with game board copy. This thing here. Pretty sure. No, no, no. Has nothing to do with it because we're not doing this. We're not translating any stacking pattern. Oh, but you know what? I wonder if that works on its own. No, it doesn't. That actually doesn't even work. Undo is not working. Huh. one of the most important features of Liemtris. Having it not work is non-negotiable. Maybe it's the drawing. Maybe the drawing is what's messing it up. My guess is it has to do with references. Changing UI color to grid square. You know what? We can go to the draw method. How about that? Let's go to draw. Because no matter what happens, it has to hit the draw method. Draw only draws the state. Okay, note this. When I hit undo, it still looks the same here. Okay, I don't remember where I'm drawing this. Print. What is this? Underscore? board is not, it's not being undone. Oh man. Don't understand. Oh man, I haven't committed my changes in a while. Oh God. So one of these changes caused the break. Shit. You know what? Maybe. See, here's the thing. The board is not UI color anymore. It's a grid square. But when I make a copy like this, um, it's the items inside each array element is now a grid square, which is a reference. Should that make a difference though? Because UI color was also a reference. But now grid square is a reference that holds another reference type. Maybe that's got something to do with it. What if I do this? Class grid. Let me just see some just to confirm my suspicions. So this will change grid square into a value type. And let's see if this has the same issue where undo is broken. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what I thought. That's annoying because I really don't want this to be a struct. So let's think about how to fix this. Okay, I still want this to um, be a reference type. I don't want to make it a kludge and change it to struct. Let's see. Struct. Fuck it. Excuse me. I want some chicken nuggets. I want McDonald's French fries. See, I was good today. I went to a restaurant. I didn't get any ice cream. So now I can eat. So I could have gotten all the ice cream I wanted, but I didn't get any ice cream. Oh yeah, what's the next thing to fix? Is I have to fix the translation. Translation. Where are you? Translate. Translate down. I'm actually gonna commit all these changes. Um, Pattern, stacking, working. Need to fix translation. Okay, I want to know why this isn't working. Uh, Shoot, I guess I can't show it because I don't have the button set up. So when I hit the translation, this whole thing just disappears. Let's see if I can just um, button pressed. Okay, I'm gonna change one of these buttons. Let's say project. I'm gonna change the project button to call something else. Project, projection button, projection button. Projection pressed should, I'm gonna make this call uh, translate down stacking pattern. Then you will, no, 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 no. Don't build it on my iPhone. Dang it. It's on the iPhone. I wanted it to be on the simulator. Now my iPhone has a bad version of the code. Okay, so this is what happens right now. Here's the bug. Use stacking patterns, LST. If I hit this, wait, why is it working? What the heck? Huh, it's working. It wasn't working. Oh, maybe it wasn't working before because of the whole struct versus class thing. Maybe that also fixed it. Okay, I'm gonna change this back. Actually, I'm gonna keep this here because notice here's another bug. The translatable thing, it's consuming. So I can't put the appending logic in line clear or just in line clear because the pattern can move down this thing. I can't just leave this only in here because the pattern can move down if you hit translate. So if you hit translate, oh, you know what? Easy fix. Because if you do a line clear and stuff, it'll repopulate. Okay, I'm gonna move this down. Notice, nice. And honestly, this shouldn't be too much of a problem because somebody would only hit this translation down maybe like a maximum of 5 times, which is not enough to consume the pattern. Like one, two, three, four, five. Like within 5 cycles, you should get to where you need to be anyway. Yeah, that's not too bad, but I really don't like that. I'm gonna change this to 35 to give us some more leeway. And Liemtris, instead of doing it 6 times, rows visible plus 10, I'm gonna do this plus 15. Okay, after playing with this for a bit, I really don't like that hitting translate down enough times consumes it. Uh, oh, okay. Well, I have an idea. This is so ugly. Translate down. Should call line clear. Oh, no, in this case, it should never be consumed. False. It's still being consumed. Oh, because of this. Okay, actually, I'm gonna test it on the screen so we can see it. There we go. Not bad. What else? What else? I want to change these numbers back from like 15 to 10. And there was another one. Pattern stack height. Pattern stack height, less than 30. Because now we don't need that. And the projection shit. Don't want to do this anymore. Just want to do that. Great. Now, since we have all this template already set up, adding another stacking pattern should be really easy. All you'd have to do is change what the pattern is. So this filled, empty, filled, empty pattern, you would replace this with the code that generates like ST. So ST is instead of filled, empty, filled, empty, filled, empty, filled, empty, it'd be filled, empty, filled, empty, filled, empty, filled, empty. Okay, let's check that off the list. What else? Ghost pattern squares, that's done. This I am gonna move back down because actually using the Xbox controller is not ideal. Tapping ghost card and square should be a no op. I really don't feel like doing this. It's not that important. But I do need to fix here. This is a really important one. It's actually stopping me from using the T-spin finder mode because doing undo messes with the bot. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna get some food.